Sean Connery is in the Humvee driving down the street and just lightly taps the edge of a car and it just kaboom for just nothing, no other reason.
Because if you think about it, if Arnold Schwarzenegger played Stanley Goodspeed like originally planned, this would have been horrible.
Let's introduce a plot point or a storyline that's gonna go absolutely nowhere. So this guy is locked up for 30 years because he was a spy and he came over here and stole all of our major secrets.
I want to. So here's his lineup. So there's not all action, okay? So you have Bad Boys, you have The Rock, then you have Armageddon.
Who can melt your face off, or turn your face to goo? Hold the city ransom for $1 million or two. The Candyman can.
And they're making out and he just cannot shut up about anything. Like he's talking.
Yeah, he can't do a love scene.
He can't do a love scene at all. It's so awkward.
You ever see
Yes,
the,
2008, yeah.
You ever see those pictures where you're like, there's always the eyes are following you? Hello, all of you wonderful people out there in podcast land. Welcome to another episode of Black and White Reviews.
Stop.
My name
You messed up. You messed up. It's not
No, you
podcast
didn't
land.
mess up.
Yours is broadcast land. You say broadcast land. Keep rolling.
I will
We're not starting over. Keep going.
Welcome, everyone from Broadcast Land.
Hey!
My name is Chuck,
My name is Lee.
And I am Will.
and tonight we are discussing.
We're discussing
the
a Michael,
Michael
Bay film. We are
the Michael
discussing
Bay-
another
the-
Michael Bay film.
The Michael Bay film 1995 Bad
96.
Boys, starring
96.
starring Will Smith and Martin Lawrence.
Yes. Yes.
And I say that because I was watching the movie The Rock with Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery and a bunch of other people. And I was like, the score in this movie is Bad Boys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
It's every Michael Bay film back in the 90s.
Yeah,
It's
but
every Hans Zimmer track back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing
direction.
to bet you could take the score from this movie and just lay it over Bad Boys, and it would fit perfectly.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like from
Probably.
beginning to
like
end.
beginning to end, not even like cutting it and like moving around. Like it would just happen to fit.
Just happened to
Probably.
fit.
My favorite is the shot where he's like out of the car in the street and it's at that like all the way around his head from down below. So I'm like, that's every single Michael Bay film.
That's
That
everything.
was Will Smith and Martin Lawrence
Yes.
when they
back to back and
Yes.
when they were standing up because
yeah. Uh-huh.
See,
But
but
to-
the thing is, when it happened in Bad Boys with Michael Lawrence and Will Smith, Michael Lawrence,
Michael Lawrence.
Martin
Martin
Jack
Lawrence
Smith.
and Will Smith, when they did that shot, that 360 shot, that was cool. Here,
Yeah.
it's
It's been done.
Well, to be honest,
well,
this
it's
movie
not
was made
it's
in
not that it's
96.
been done. It's not that it's been done. It's just it's Nicolas Cage, and I can't take
Right.
Nicolas Cage seriously, so it's just stupid now.
Well,
Why? With dialogue like "What in the name of Zeus's butthole?" and
you a-hole.
"Let's stop with the chit chat."
A-hole. I'm like, what the heck is this? So, just a quick
You crash
rundown.
your
of-
Ferrari. It's not
Yeah,
mine.
yeah.
it's not mine.
Neither is his bike. I'm taking it.
So here is the plethora of actors in this film: Sean Connery, Nicolas Cage, Ed Harris,
Mm-hmm.
John Spencer, David Morse.
Mm-hmm. William Forsythe.
William-
Michael Biehn.
Yes, John C. McKinley.
Yes.
Let me say, John C. McKinley, being one of the Bobs, first of all, from Office Space, and then going into like this, you're like, what?
Dude, he's been around forever.
But
He was
then
in
he did-
Hercules in New York.
But he also did the 5 seasons of Scrubs too,
Scrubs,
and
yep.
he was fantastic.
Oh, he was amazing as Dr. Cox.
as Dr. Cox.
Yeah.
So there's all of these people.
Dude, Tony Todd, the Candyman.
Candyman.
Yeah.
That was the big one
Tony
that I
Todd.
picked up on. Candyman.
Oh, dude.
Anytime
Yep.
you see him out of the role of Candyman, it's just weird. It's
Oh, it's
so
totally weird.
strange.
But he
so
was really good
strange.
in the Fifth Element movies as the the character would basically tell you the whole. He was in all the Final Destination movies. He was the
Oh,
guy.
you
who
said
would
you
explain
said
what
the
was
Fifth
going on.
Element movie, so I got confused for a second.
Oh, Final Destination. Yeah, sorry.
I was like,
It's a Fifth
how
Element.
many
then-
Fifth Element movies have there been? Wait a minute.
Wait, well, you didn't know the Sci-Fi Channel had their own spin-off series of
I would not
movies.
And
be
then the-
surprised.
His daughter Claire Forlani.
Claire Forlani. Yep.
What
Yeah.
else? she's super familiar.
Yeah, she was in a
Yeah.
bunch of stuff in the later '90s. She was also in Mystery Men as Ben Stiller's love interest.
I remember that.
Yep. You've got the guy who's not the Shocker in Spider-Man: No Way Home. Or not No Way Home, the first one, Homecoming.
The medallion
Joaquin
with Jackie Chan.
Woodbine.
I love that
Okay,
Jim
yep.
Caviezel's nobody in this movie.
Wait, he was in this?
Yes, he
Jim
was.
Caviezel?
He was one of the pilots.
No, are you sure?
Jim
I
Caviezel,
did-
rear F-18 pilot. That's what he's credited as.
Interesting. I did not notice that.
I knew that.
Really?
I knew
Yeah.
that years ago, and I completely forgot about
funny.
it. Now I'm looking at the cast
That
list,
is
and I'm like,
funny.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
The captain at the end, the one who puts the beret on.
Mm.
He's the morgue keeper in Final Destination.
I just said we've been talking about Tony Todd this whole time.
Oh,
where,
that-
have you,
that-
where have you been?
I was looking
He's
at.
the Candy Man.
Okay, I was looking
He's
at.
the Rocket Man.
I was looking at stuff like
No,
that.
my-
He's
so
the
my
Rocket
fa-
Man,
my-
all right.
So I'm gonna say this just because it's one of the so we do watch there's a couple of things that I watch when it comes down to making fun of the movies that we love. Honest trailers and there's the pitch meetings. Those are the things we watch. So if you guys are listening to us right now, we love your stuff. They're hilarious. My favorite honest trailer is of this movie. And the best thing to do is like what was the line? It was like, who can take these hostages? Oh no. Who can take these who can melt your face off or turn your face to goo, hold the city ransom for $1 million or two, the Candyman can. Like,
Right.
it was the funniest thing I ever heard because they're introducing all the different characters here.
Now we talked about in a podcast earlier about a movie about Indiana Jones. And
Oh
how
yeah. Mm-hmm.
There was talk about how his character may not have been needed for the plot of the film.
Uh-huh.
Nicolas Cage's character in this film was not needed for the plot of this film whatsoever.
Oh, absolutely he was. He was the main character, and it was very necessary that he was just like this little scientist dude who was not ready for action, yet somehow by the end was the action star.
What did he do to defeat the bad guy?
Defeat the bad guy? Well, he threw a chemical thing in his mouth and punched it, which was epic.
Okay.
Epic.
Aside
It is my favorite bad guy death, I think, in any movie.
Aside from that one part, he had no hand in anything. In
Not
fact,
really.
when the bad guy launched the missile and had the chance, and Ed Harris launches the missile
Yeah.
and has the chance, and then throws it into the and then
Yeah.
changes the course in the ocean. He says they called our bluff, and now we're done. We
Yeah.
are done. And then the
Right.
whole room kills each other.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
They're done,
Yeah.
except for one or two guys.
Mm-hmm.
They're all done. Where was Nicolas Cage?
gone.
He
Away.
was still taking ships out, wasn't he?
Well,
He-
he
for
was watching on from behind cover and then ran into the room and dragged out Ed Harris.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
That's what happened.
After he was shot.
Oh no, that's when he came back, right? That's when he was about to get shot again. And
Well,
then,
no, that's not what he was
and then
talking about. He was
what's-his-face
just
came up
talking
behind
about
him
he
and-
was just talking about when everything blows up and the room starts shooting each other. They're all shooting
Yeah,
each
yeah,
other.
yeah.
They're all dead, and
he
that's
was
when,
on his way in.
yeah. Nicolas Cage comes in, and grabs him, and they help
Yeah.
him out. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Right.
Uh-huh.
What was So here's the premise of this movie. The ex-military guys, there's like 30 of them, are taking over Alcatraz.
Okay, and the reason they're doing that is because they feel like they were not compensated properly for all of their
No, not them.
Dead
They're
people. The dead
Fallen
people.
comrades.
yeah,
They're
fallen
fallen
comrades
soldiers.
and themselves as well.
Which fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. I understand that grief. I don't personally do it, but I get the logic behind
Mhm.
it, and it makes sense. They bring in a team of Navy SEALs who are supposed to be the best of the best,
Yeah,
And they bring in-
Navy Bean.
and they bring in Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Sean Connery has been in prison for 30 years.
Yeah,
His skills are rusty at best.
obviously not. He like zip tied that guy's arm and threw him
Not a
over the
problem.
balcony.
His-
It
Not
was
a problem.
epic.
I'm
Not
sorry.
a problem.
30
He-
years.
He
this
rolled
is-
through that
this is
furnace.
worth-
He rolled through that furnace like he was in his 20s. He had no problems at all.
Well, the penitent man will pass.
This is almost as bad as being shot up with 200% of this stuff
This is
and then
not
going
that
against
bad.
15
This
guys.
is not
No.
that bad. No,
30
no.
years in prison?
Dick Grayson is way more egregious than this. Because at least
30 years in prison, he's still on
no,
point with
no,
everything.
He's,
No,
he's reading and he's working out, keeping his body. Come on, he's still.
I mean, do you think that 30 years in prison and the only thing he lost was his sex appeal? Come on.
No, what you didn't see is who his cellmate was. His cellmate was another old guy with the long hair who taught him sword play and martial arts and everything.
That was the Count of Monte Cristo.
Yes.
And books and
No, but so this movie was fantastic for just a fun movie. Outside
course.
of that, I was like, what the heck is
There is
wrong?
nothing about this movie that you should take seriously. Absolutely
Not a
nothing.
single-
From beginning
not
to
a
end.
single thing.
This is a
it's
giant
fantastic.
joke. This movie is a
I
joke.
love this movie so much.
But I
So,
love it so
I don't
much.
remember-
This movie,
I don't
this
remember.
movie is up there with like Fifth Element for me.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's so Nicolas Cage action that you just can't get past saying this is just entertaining.
It's Nicolas Cage wanting to be Bruce Willis.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I would
Okay,
agree with
yep.
this. It's Nicolas Cage. wanting to
Imagine
be
Bruce Willis in
There's
this role.
even
This movie would not be as
There's,
funny. if it
there's
was Bruce
even
Willis.
there's even a scene where he comes out of the water because he's all wet and he's standing and they have a shot up and his hair is greased back and he looks just like Bruce Willis. I'm like, what is wrong with this? I'm like, but this the reason why when I started watching this, I was like, this is Bad Boys. He did
It's
this
very,
movie
very Bad
directly.
Boys.
Oh yeah,
It's
right after.
It's the same with Batman Returns,
Yeah.
and having the stink of Edward Scissorhands all over.
Yeah.
it. He had just done Bad Boys, and
Mhm.
now he's doing this. Same feel, same score,
So
same like everything was the same. Even
Yeah.
the part where when they come with the telescope and you can see the telescope from real close up,
Mhm.
and it's a Michael Bay thing,
Mhm.
you know.
I
But
gotta,
here's the thing:
I gotta-
original old '90s Michael Bay, I can take. Him doing it now, 20 years later, it's like
No,
Music
I gotta
of the Island,
stop
it was
you.
awful.
I gotta stop you right there because that's my biggest problem with this movie. So I went back and I listened to some of it because I wanted to know what I said. When we did The Island, one of you, and I think it was Chuck, but one of you said, Michael Bay wasn't always the big blow him up, kabang bang guy. And I was like, all right, you know what? I'll give him a second chance. I'm not gonna do that anymore. This is a year removed from Bad Boys, and there is this action sequence, this car chase, where things are blowing up on the street without any reason at all. The car, the trolley. Why did the trolley had to blow up and fly 20 feet up in the air and then back down? There was no reason for this at all.
No, there was a reason. There was an absolute reason.
Why?
Michael Bay.
Okay, thank you. Why did this have to happen? It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Why did everything need to explode? He's in a.
Imagine how boring it would have been if there was no explosion.
Sean Connery is in the Humvee driving down the street and just lightly taps the edge of a car and it just kaboom. For just nothing, no other reason. Like normally, okay, it was an accident. The car went flying, great. No, just lightly tapped it and bam, kaboom. And then I can't get over it. I cannot get over it. Why did everything need to explode on this street? Explain that to me. Explain that one to me. You can't. It doesn't make any sense.
Because this was the same. This was his rendition of even in Bad Boys 2 when you saw Bad Boys 2,
You've
right?
not
Will?
seen Bad Boys 2?
Yeah.
When he's driving his Porsche and Martin Lawrence shoots the Porsche in the glove box, but they're going across the bridge in the car. The truck that has all the cars on it are being launched off the back.
That was 2? Wow.
That was Bad Boys 2.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was.
This right, that was just a replication of this scene.
It was
is
so
him just trying to
stupid.
be as crazy as possible.
It was
so here's-
stupid.
I want to. So here's his lineup. So there's not all action. Okay. So you have Bad Boys, you have The Rock, then you have Armageddon, which wasn't full of action. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
What?
they were blowing up an
They're on an asteroid, blowing
The
up.
whole point of that movie was to blow up an asteroid.
you have
They're not
Pearl
even.
Harbor.
Hang on, no, stop. Go back to Armageddon. That's not action.
Have
That
you
isn't
even
all
seen
about
Star
blowing
Wars?
up. I cannot believe that just came out of your mouth. Armageddon isn't all
not.
about action and blowing up, but the whole point of the movie is to blow up an asteroid. And,
And you got-
it's not even like they're on the asteroid and they're drilling and they still blow up. They still go flying off into space.
Then you got Pearl Harbor, which
Another
It's
movie
about-
about blowing things up. Come on, keep going.
you got Bad Boys 2.
Yeah, they blew a lot up. They blew a lot up in Bad Boys 2.
Then you got The Island.
Yep, there was a lot of
There was-
unnecessary
There was
blowing
a lot
up.
of unnecessary blowing up and two
And then
people
he
that
did
just
the-
hang
he
and
did-
two people that just had to stay pretty throughout the whole thing despite debris falling on them. Go ahead, keep
Well,
going.
they had to because they were, they're
They're the main
they needed to keep
characters.
their skin and their
And then
organs healthy
From
for
2000
their donors.
From 2007 to 2011, he took a break. He did some dramas with Transformers 2, and Transformers 3. Then he went into Pain and Gain. If you've never seen Pain and Gain, you have to watch Pain and Gain.
I'm
It's
not
fantastic.
watching Pain and Gain.
Then he went. You have to. Then he did Transformers again. Then he did 13 Hours, which was fantastic. It was a fantastic film.
What was
Then
that?
he went back into Transformers. I don't know why he keeps going back to Transformers. Then he did Six Underground, which was a Netflix original,
Oh.
and that was actually a pretty fun
That's the
movie.
one with Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
That was actually a fun movie. Which was
Is that a sequel to Buried?
yeah, he came back up.
There were 5 more people next to him.
None of these movies are like full hard on. I can't even say
You
it.
can't even say it with a straight face. Stop it.
So if I actually said that when we went through the island, I rescind what I said because every single one of those films is straight up.
But
Could
you
you
were-
imagine
it,
if
it was
so
just the
we
way that you
laugh-
were
we
so
laugh about-
sure about how you were talking. Like, Will, I know what you think about Michael Bay, but he wasn't always like this. And it's just like, oh, okay.
What we should do, we need to go back and just delete that podcast altogether.
No,
that way it's
no,
not out there that
no,
we actually
I'm-
saying that.
I'm splicing that part into this. Like, that
course
is
you
going
are.
in here.
I'm just gonna say, just because you're on this, how much you hate Michael Bay. Do you think that Batman and Robin would have been better if it was directed by Michael Bay?
No.
Okay.
Of course, no.
Okay. I'm just saying. So you're saying that you think that Joel Schumacher at the
No.
helm of Batman and Robin was better than Michael Bay?
This is a trap question. I don't like it.
Is it a trap question?
This is such a trap. This is such a trap. This is a dirty trick. Oh my
So
If you're
why
gonna
don't
god.
put,
you-
Batman,
you know
if
what,
you're
you
gonna
know
put
what, fine.
Batman and Robin above Michael Bay, wow. Michael Bay has a. Does he do the exact same thing every single time? Is every single
Absolutely.
Transformers movie the same? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Does he do that bluish green hue, bluish yellow hue, call it green hue, in all of his films? Yes.
Yes.
Are they? Is the production quality is still there? It's good production quality. He gets good actors. The story is decent at best. It's not the best, but when the production that when he makes these movies, they're massive hits every single time.
He reminds me of a less talented John Woo.
Yeah, I can see that.
Of course you are.
Of course
I don't know
am.
who said it, but watch it be me.
Yeah, watch
I'm
it.
just gonna stay quiet.
No, I'm almost sure it's Chuck. Because you and I have
Okay.
always been on the same page about Michael Bay, and you've kind of like
I guess.
apologized for him.
See,
over
but
the
for
years, Chuck.
Pearl Harbor, even though there's action in it,
Pearl
I
Harbor.
don't look at that as an action movie.
They-
It is.
It's-
It
it's
is a
Pearl
road-
Harbor. It's Pearl Harbor. How do you not look at Pearl? It's Pearl Harbor.
Because there's the scene
It's
when there is the scene when they get attacked, There's the two scenes where they have the middle where they get the attack, and then the end when they attack Japan. Outside of that, it is one big love fest the entire film.
Aside from the fact, well, the whole sequence where Ben Affleck is over there in Europe and he's fighting, and there's this whole action scene that's going on over there.
That lasts about 3 minutes in a 3.5-hour movie.
That movie was 3.5 hours. No, it wasn't. Was it really?
Pearl Harbor
was 3.5 hours. No,
It was a long movie.
It was a long.
I know it was a long movie, but
Pearl Harbor was Michael Bay's answer to Titanic. It was the same style movie. It was the same thing as Titanic. They took a real life scenario and made it one big romantic love fest.
3 hours and 4 minutes.
Yeah,
It was-
Jesus.
Yeah. And there was only 2 or 3 quote unquote action scenes. Same with Armageddon. Once they got
Didn't it start up with like an oil rig like
Yes!
exploding?
No.
That's how the
Yes, it
movie
did.
started.
No, he's right. It started off with fragments of the asteroid falling to Earth and blowing things up. Then it went on to the oil rig where it blew up. Then they went
didn't
on to the
blow up.
asteroid
They
where they all
struck
blew
oil.
up.
They struck oil.
With
There was
fire.
like oil.
There was
baby!
fire, there was fire and shaky cam, and they were freaking out. It was very much an action sequence. Do not try.
That was because Ben Affleck was boinking his daughter.
No,
Come on, that's the
no,
only. Yes.
No.
That's why the rig was rocking. Don't come a knocking.
Don't come and knock.
Oh jeez.
That's what the whole chase scene was. Bruce Willis was.
No, I'm
chasing
talking
Ben
about
Affleck.
when they strike oil. The shaking cam is going on. There's oil flying everywhere. There's fire. It's chaos. It's a mess. That is very much an action sequence.
Mm.
Then
I
there's a
still think Deep
montage
Impact
of them
was
all
better.
getting ready to go into space. Then they go into space, and then they start blowing up.
There's not a montage of them. There's like the most of the movie is them prepping to get into space. The
Yeah.
last 20 minutes
Yes.
is them in space.
Yes, it's a giant montage of them prepping to go into space. Yes.
But they're just in inner space. They're not in full outer space yet.
You're so stupid.
Owen Wilson did.
I hate Michael Bay. I'm sorry. I hate Michael Bay. I hate these movies. I so hate these
So
movies.
let's talk. Okay, listen. I know we're talking about this movie, but let's look at this. If you pull up IMDb and you look at this movie, what comes up with more like this? Ready?
Of course.
Con Air.
Yeah.
On air.
Yes.
Yes.
Face Off.
Yes.
All Nicolas Cage movies.
Yes.
Gone in 60 Seconds.
Absolutely.
Armageddon.
Not Nicolas Cage.
Speed.
No, you're right. Bruce Willis, whom Nicolas Cage tried to be in this movie.
Absolutely.
Speed. Enemy of the State. National Treasure.
Nicolas Cage. Enemy of the State is nothing like this movie.
Nothing.
But
That's
it's,
That's
no,
a
That I
fantastic
don't
film.
understand. How do you recommend Enemy of
Um,
the State with this?
Air Force One. The Hunt for Red October.
Sean Connery.
The
Sean
Fugitive.
Connery.
Yeah.
That's because now they're going Sean Connery
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones. Basically,
it.
what that is 7 degrees of 7 bacon done through IMDb with
Yeah.
an actor. Stupid. None of those actually. Sean Connery. So let's do Harrison Ford films because Sean Connery played with Harrison Ford in Indiana Jones. That's all they're doing.
I know. But I'm just saying this is like more like this in that sense. It's not saying that these have any other ties besides that. It's more. It's just some kind of.
You
automatic
lost me. You
generated
lost me on
whatever.
Enemy of the State because there's no reason why Enemy of the State should be listed there at all. It has
Jack
it's
Black in
nothing
that?
like any of those.
Oh, yeah,
movies.
he's a tech guy.
Remember the Jackal when was it the Jackal? That was Bruce Willis, right?
That was Bruce Willis.
when he just like
That's
shot,
actually not
um,
a bad movie. It's
when
been
he
a
just
while.
shot Jack
since
Black's arms off, and you're like, what? Yeah, that movie was interesting. Anyway,
Have you seen that movie with John Travolta? He made it in 2019.
can we not talk about that, please? I am not a stalker.
You didn't actually watch the movie.
I did watch the movie.
I
I
Can't
wish
was
talk
you were there. I
long,
wish
I
you
was
were
poo.
working.
I wish you were there for the podcast. 'cause It was,
Poppycock.
it was
Poppycock.
fantastic. This guy's nuts.
Right this way,
Um,
governor. Anyways, what are we? Are we talking about? What are we talking about?
Nicolas Cage.
Okay.
Nicolas Cage.
No,
being
I want
Nicolas
to
Cage.
talk about that. I want to talk about. Let's get off Nicolas Cage for a second. Let's get off Michael Bay. What were your thoughts on Sean Connery's role in this movie? Like the way that he played the character.
He was the same as every other character he plays.
He was
Uh,
007.
I mean,
he was 007.
He was a little more. I'd say his language was a little more crass in this than
Oh.
you've seen in other things.
Sure.
Of course.
You know, going from PG and PG-13 to this.
Sure.
But I mean, I like when Goodspeed's over there the first time he meets him, and he's like super timid, and he doesn't even like. I work with the Federal Bureau, with the FBI. The FBI, like, right? He got something right. Like, my name is Stanley Goodspeed. I'm Stanley Goodspeed. Like, he's totally nervous the entire time when he first meets him because dude's intimidating. You go in this cell and then you get this like creepy old Sean Connery dude with the hair, and I love it. He's like, maybe you can get a haircut too. He's like, why? Is it not up to modern standards? He goes, well, maybe if you're in Seattle and
You like
you're a
grunge.
20-year-old in Seattle, it's kind of like a grunge thing. Grunge, okay, got it. I don't know. I thought I appreciated him in this. Like, I couldn't. I mean, anybody I guess could have played the role, but I like the way that he did it in here.
My favorite character in this entire film was Ed Harris.
Oh, absolutely.
Ed Harris was fantastic.
Ed Harris was the
this
best
is this
part
is
of
a
this film.
performance of a lifetime from Ed Harris. This is fantastic.
really
for
was.
Him.
It
For
really was
him,
fantastic.
This was
I mean, you had the campy Michael Bay shot when he's looking into the camera, and you see the film, the camera getting closer to the actual TV screen, and then it goes fuzzy. I mean, that was an Armageddon thing again.
Yeah.
But Ed Harris, the way he portrayed himself as a ex-general of the Marines, you know, even when he was like, identify yourself over the phone.
Oh yeah.
He handled himself beautiful the whole time.
I'll be
whole
right back. I'm sorry. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So I think I mean some of the most ridiculous deaths are obviously the Rocket Man, Tony Todd. He's just like, "You're the Rocket Man," and then he hits the button and shoots him out the window. Okay, you don't remember that?
I do, but it was stolen.
Was that Broken Arrow?
It was Broken Arrow.
Pretty sure that was Broken Arrow.
Don't shoot around.
Please don't shoot the nuclear weapons. Yeah, so there's that. There's the there's the chemicals in the dude's mouth. I mean, that was definitely the best, like, you know, ending, you know, fight of the two of them, or of anybody in there. I thought it was fantastic.
The whole rocket ship part, though, is that when he falls,
rocket ship.
when the rocket,
Oh yeah,
when he gets
when he gets impaled at the end.
Impaled.
Yeah,
before he gets impaled and he falls on the spike on the fence.
yeah.
He's still alive. I'm sorry. You're a
He just got hit by a rocket.
You're
Yeah.
a rocket launched into your chest,
Yes.
Yeah.
and you're alive before you fall. No.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it just took off though. Like it wasn't going.
Mister,
That should have impaled him.
Yes, it should have.
they threw a
Immediately.
motorcycle on top of him. He should be dead. Come on, if you can't defend that, you should not be defending
He had armor on.
a
Oh,
rocket.
no.
Rocket launched a missile launched into his chest.
Wait,
He should be
and I brought this-
instantaneously dead.
And I brought this up to the two of you at least a couple of years ago. John Travolta, Broken Arrow, that nuke.
I know.
just
I
said
know.
that.
We were just talking about that. Exactly.
All right.
Please do not
Yeah,
fire.
But Tony Todd didn't make that little smile like Travolta did at the end.
Oh,
He's
of
like,
course not.
Oh,
Of
Tony
course
Todd.
not. Of course not.
What a dude.
He,
What a dude.
It's so weird seeing Tony Todd in movies outside of Candyman. It's so odd because he plays the role of Candyman so well, and like that
Or
Yeah,
one
Final
movie,
And,
like
and
it's
it was
so.
what was it 3 movies? I think it
I've
was
only
3
seen
movies
him
he
in.
did.
I've only seen him in the one, unless he was in like the remake or the reboot or
No,
whatever
Jet
it
Li was
is.
in the one.
Stop.
But yeah, no.
I will say this: as much as I like John C. McKinley,
yeah,
the way he died, screaming like a little girl,
yeah,
I
Yeah.
couldn't.
yeah. That was pretty sad.
When he got his, when he was,
But he wasn't really big back then, so he was kind of a throwaway character,
he
unfortunately.
had done The Office before this.
Oh,
movie.
hey, first of all, how come nobody mentioned Tuco's tight man bun that he had in this movie? Did you not see Tuco?
Yeah, I was gonna leave that out because of the man bun. I don't want to talk about the man bun because it looks ridiculous. Like I
Yeah.
can't. I'm not looking at him and seeing Tuco. Like no.
Yeah.
man bun in '96.
Yeah.
The man
When was
bun
it-
in
when-
'96.
When was The Office done?
The Office 2005 was when they started.
Not The Office. Office Space.
Oh, Office Space. That was done in
97?
Was it 97?
Was it after this film?
99. Office Space is
99.
99. Sorry.
Yeah.
Is
Way
it
after.
really?
Yeah. Yeah.
2 years, way after.
But again, John C. McGinley played a ton of characters. He was I need to rewatch this movie. Nothing Left to Lose or Nothing to Lose.
Yes, I've seen that a long time ago.
Dude, that movie is hilarious. Tim Robbins and Martin Lawrence.
Oh my god.
John C. McGinley, Giancarlo Esposito were the two bad guys.
Tim
Yeah.
Robbins in the camera. Tim Robbins in the camera is iconic.
Dude, it's amazing. Wasn't his boss Michael McKean?
I don't remember. I watched it such a long time
That
ago.
was such a good movie. I love that movie.
See,
And
John C. McKinley, though, is one of those actors where he could play so many different roles,
Mm.
and he just never got the right credit for it.
He was in Stealing Harvard. He was like the detective in that. And it was pretty interesting. Oh, actually, it was really funny because I think it was so Tom Green's in it and Jason Lee are in it. And at one point they're like in this office, and it's funny because Tom Green's just being Tom Green. So he grabs the toothbrush off the dude's desk and he starts like brushing his teeth, but he goes, "Oh, that's nice and minty," like just being weird Tom Green. And then he puts it back in there. So then John C. McGinley comes in, having already like watched them in his office, sits down. He goes, "You know what? You know what I like to do? Every time after, a nice long lunch, I come back in my office and I take this toothbrush here and I give a thorough cleaning to my rectum. Just a nice, good old scrubbing." The way he says it and delivers it is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And there's Tom Green like,
So let's stay on that for a
What
second.
was
Let's-
that? What was that? Little squeak there?
Can we talk about for a
Oh.
second exactly how he dies in this movie? Because it was the
Yeah.
dumbest thing in the world. He's on fire.
"Mm,
There's
oh,
water.
Screaming like a
There's
little girl.
water right underneath him. He could just very easily fall down into the water and put the fire out. But no,
But he doesn't.
he
Because
doesn't.
Michael Bay.
Well, no, he's the what? That's a long drop.
No,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not. It's not.
It was a
It's not that.
It was-
No. It's
Well,
right
I mean,
there.
as we've argued earlier, somebody falls from into water from a long drop. They're obviously dead. So why would he want to do that?
Okay,
that clip
this is
was
this is a
hundreds of
clip.
feet.
This
There
is
is
a
a
clip
difference.
versus-
that clip
versus
was
versus
hundreds of feet.
10
Uh-huh.
feet max.
And he's not a Jedi. So.
He's still-
Hundreds of feet. I don't care. Oh my gosh. But the screaming like a little girl is what got me.
Yeah,
I
it
was
was pretty
like,
sad.
why is he screaming?
Yeah,
Other
he
than
went
that,
down.
though, like when I'm actually right now, the only fun thing that I'm watching for TV right now, outside of the stuff that we do for the podcast,
Mm.
is Scrubs. I'm watching it for like the 4th time.
Oh.
It's just stupid humor. He is fantastic. The way satire rolls off his tongue,
Oh, it's amazing.
it's fantastic.
amazing.
It's fantastic. But the cast overall of this film was very eclectic and really good, I thought.
Mhm.
Aside from Nicolas Cage, I couldn't get past the like, I don't have any time for chit chat, a-hole. Just stuff like that. Just the way he says it, it's so.
I've said it before. I'll say it every time we do a Nicolas Cage movie. He is the best worst actor of all time.
Oh, he is.
He is
The
the
best.
greatest worst actor ever. Like there's not like it's so weird. I don't think anybody's ever going to be able to top what he does in almost every movie that he's in. He's
but that's the thing, it's
ridiculous.
like,
He was
It-
good in
it's-
Con Air.
Put
he was
down
the
bunny.
same in Con Air though. Like he was still
No, he had a southern drawl.
oh.
No, he was Sean Connery's character in this movie in Con Air.
This bunny's a little got some blood on it.
He was
sorry.
he was Sean
You
Connery's
don't remember
original.
me.
He was Sean Connery in the beginning of this film and throughout the entirety
And the
of Con
thing
Air.
is, Nick Cage wasn't even like the best character or actor in that movie. It was
in
Steve
Con Air?
Buscemi. Yeah.
Oh,
in Con
by
Air.
far.
Steve
Buscemi-
Buscemi was amazing in Con Air. Define irony.
Steve Bush. Yeah. Steve Buscemi had one great line in that movie, and it was a fantastic
But it was a
line, which is what
takeaway
stole the
line.
show. Oh yeah,
It was
everybody
it was
like if anybody says Con Air, that's the line we remember.
define
That or
irony.
nothing makes me sadder than the agent lost his bladder on the airplane. Click. Oh man.
So I'm thinking for the next, like, since we started with this film, I think we should just go on this role of doing Nick Cage films.
No.
No.
But here's the thing.
Like next we can do National Treasure 1 and 2. as just, like,
Absolutely not.
one pod.
Absolutely not.
But so to your point though, and I know we've said it before, he's the best worst actor. And the thing is, like, he's so good at it. He's so
Yeah.
good at playing this character.
Yes.
But this character's bad. It's not a good character, but it is at the same time. It's a conundrum. I can't figure it out. Like Nicolas Cage is an enigma. It
Yeah.
makes no sense to me. Why do
None.
I still want to watch his stuff? Now, I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but they are saying that he's going to return as Ghost Rider in the MCU at some point soon.
That's
Oh,
so
God.
stupid. Why would they even bother? Actually, you know what? He
Because-
might actually inject some life into the MCU.
He might at this point.
At this
Can you
point,
imagine
he
that?
might. I mean,
Remember when he was
and-
Big Daddy and Kick?
Yeah, I was just about to say kick ass. Like, I think I could say that. It's the title of a movie, sure. Like, I was just about to say that. Like, he was fantastic in that, so why not? Let him inject some life into the MCU. It would definitely be different. I would never look
Yeah.
at the MCU the same again. If Nick Cage
Yeah.
becomes a part of it, that's a change. That would
I'm
be
just
different.
like it would be very interesting to see, and this is where I don't know if it's ever going to happen. He is Nicolas Cage. I don't know how well he's going to play with others. You know, that's where I'm confused. Like, how is his character going to play off of
He
these
played-
other?
he
know,
played-
characters.
In a lot of what makes a lot of his movies decent
Mhm.
is it's not just him. He's always playing with an ensemble.
I
Right.
disagree.
A big
I disagree. I think what makes Nicolas Cage great is when he's like on his own.
Yeah,
Like
stands out, what I'm saying is what
he's
makes
not
the
like
movie-
he's not he even in
but name a
this-
movie where it's just him.
Well,
And he's
Con
not
Air
surrounded by
is that. This is that.
no,
no. Con Air
Sean
has 2 or
Connery
3
is not playing.
no. We're not
alongside
talking about
Nicolas
like.
Cage.
No, we're
in
not
this
saying
movie.
who's on the side. We're saying like who's in the movie that steals the show. And honestly, there were tons of people who stole the show in
There's
that.
nobody in
Con
this
Air.
movie that steals the show away from Nicolas Cage. In this movie, I'm
Really?
sorry. There's nobody in this movie that steals the show from Nicolas Cage. Nobody. The
I
closest
think-
thing is like Face Off. And that's because John
Mhm.
Travolta was able to like match Nicolas Cage for like
But what I'm trying to
hilarity.
say is, but every movie that he's in, he's surrounded by 3 or 4 big actors all the time. They may not steal the show because he is considered the star of the movie. He is the principal, for lack of better words, of the film. However, if it was just a movie with him and a bunch of no names, it wouldn't be as good of a movie.
I disagree. Because even Gone in 60
Name
Seconds.
one.
Gone in 60 Seconds is not a good movie. It's not a good Nicolas Cage performance. That's because
No,
of
but it's
Angelina
also-
Jolie.
And there's also you got Isaac. What's his name? You got what's his name who played on. We just talked about it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. The Boiler
what's his
movie,
name?
that guy.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
who you're talking about.
Verbinski.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's 3 or 4 known actors in that, and a lot of what he does, there's nothing that he does where it's just Nicolas Cage and no name actors.
Right.
He's always surrounded by big actors or bigger names. That way not all of it is focused on him. He could never do an I Am Legend like Will Smith did.
No.
The Wicker
Well,
Man.
No. Oh yeah, that's true. There weren't a lot of big names in that. But
It
that
was
was
him.
a really that
Wicker
was
Man.
him.
It was him. That's
Mhm.
all
when was
him.
that? When did that film come out?
Early 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it him who was
I think
City
it was
of
2006.
Was he City of Angels?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Again, you had what's her name?
Yeah. 2006 was the Wicker Man.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a remake, but yeah.
And who
Yeah,
else was
that's
in
what
it?
I was trying to find the
Meg Ryan.
Wicker Man.
Oh, Lily Sobieski, maybe.
Okay.
What is that funny?
I'm just
I don't know, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. Just like Yeah, I
The
mean,
point, the point
the
is
cast was not
Nicolas
big.
Cage. Nicolas Cage shines in a movie where the focus is on Nicolas Cage. Whenever he has to do a whole lot of sharing, it's not a Nicolas Cage performance. This is kind of an example because Sean Connery. Face Off is an example because John Travolta. Wicker Man is all Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, it is. It's
And it's
awesome.
fantastic.
It's also the only one too.
Raising Arizona. That's another one that's all Nicolas Cage.
Well, younger stuff. I mean,
But even he was still very even
Vampire's
Raising
Kiss.
Arizona, he was still Nicolas Cage.
yeah.
Was he in he was 8mm, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Snake Eyes, 8mm. Yeah.
Wasn't there War
Lord of War.
Lord of War?
Yep.
Yep. I mean, he's done you mean for 50 years he's been a big actor. At least
40 years.
40
Yeah,
years,
yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
So I mean, he is like I say, he is the best worst actor, but
He's been in a lot of movies that have. He's been in a lot of mainstream movies.
yes,
He's been in a lot. He's
it's
been in a lot
insane.
of nothing movies too.
He has, but the thing is, he did, and that's what the whole joke was. And
Renfield?
The Unbearable Weight of Massive
Who
Talent.
saw Renfield?
I didn't see it.
Willy's
I kind
Wonderland.
of want to.
Willy's
Oh,
Wonderland.
Willy's Wonderland. That was a weird one. I saw
Symphony
bits
for
and
the
pieces.
Devil. Like I'm
Yeah,
looking at
that's
some
new,
of these
right?
movies and I'm like, what is happening?
Sympathy, not Symphony, but yeah.
no idea.
Oh yeah, you're right. It is Sympathy. I'm sorry. I
Yeah,
think
like the
Symphony.
like the
Yeah, I'm
Stone
sorry.
song. Yeah,
Well,
but
well, never mind.
But you're right. He always plays Nicolas Cage.
yeah,
He's never anybody else but Nicolas Cage. He could never do what Gary Oldman does.
nobody can do what Gary Oldman does.
What I mean by that is Gary Oldman can play.
Gary Oldman goes through a massive transformation, and it's like it blows my mind the amount of like you never see him and say, oh, it's Gary Oldman in a role. Like I've never seen any two characters he's played that were the same, ever.
He's not the
Right.
only one that can
It's-
do that though.
No, he's not.
Daniel
but
Day-Lewis.
he does it
Daniel Day-Lewis is fantastic at that.
He's fantastic.
right.
So is Brad Pitt.
I wouldn't go that far.
I
I'm
think
not.
He was the best. His best role was in Deadpool 2.
I'll say this. If it wasn't for what happened, I think someone like a Heath Ledger would have been doing something like what a Gary Oldman does.
Well, because nobody expected him to do what he did in Dark Knight. And I think that's
exactly
the hard part with that, though, is if he did that and then he moved on to do something else, there would be a massive expectation on him that he'd have to live up to, because of that transformation. And I feel like he would either like really go far or burn out quick. So it's tough.
Unless
I mean,
he-
you don't really know, but
Unless
I
he
feel like
just
that would have been the
started.
case.
Unless he just started growing into something that like a Gary Oldman does.
Yeah, I mean, he could have just been scratching the surface on something huge, but I feel like, just like everything else we've said, it's like this. Nothing amazing can go on forever, and when there's an expectation on it, it's like people start pushing
I mean,
them.
You're
that
true.
way.
I mean, you're right. Gary Oldman is an anomaly in that sense. Like and he's except for one or two films, he's never the main star. He's always a secondary
yeah.
character.
Well, there was
Eddie
ones that he
Murphy.
was.
Eddie Murphy is that from like a comedy standpoint.
Yeah,
Eddie Murphy is that from a comedy standpoint, but Eddie Murphy is every actor as Eddie Murphy. They're all the same character, just Eddie Murphy. And they
Yeah.
all have the same laugh. So when you have a movie like what's the one he plays the grandmother and the mother and the father and the grandfather, and there's like 10 of these films.
Nutty Professor movies.
Not Nutty
Yeah, the Nutty
Professor.
Professor
talking about?
movies.
Even in that, it's all Eddie Murphy being Eddie Murphy.
Yeah. I was gonna say there is one movie where he is the main character. Actually, I never saw it, but Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy,
Who?
Gary Oldman.
Yeah, he was that, and he was also in what was the other Oppenheimer?
Was
Was it Dunkirk?
No, it wasn't Dunkirk.
No, he was in
ah,
Oppenheimer.
Yeah, he was in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was the
but
main character. He was what's the guy's name?
Churchill.
Churchill.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
That he was the main character in.
Well, he was Truman in
Tried to mute it.
Oppenheimer.
Right,
He
but
was
he was
Truman
but
in
he was
Oppenheimer.
right, but he wasn't the main character.
No.
In
No, Darkest Hour. That's what it was. Yeah, Darkest Hour. He
you were-
was Winston Churchill.
yeah, he
in
was Winston
Darkest
Churchill.
Hour.
He was the main character in that film.
True.
But there's one or two. Typically, he is the bad guy in Air Force One, or he is the side character in
Dr.
Batman.
Smith in the Lost in Space movie.
Yes, he's the robot.
No, Dr.
Will
Smith.
Smith, you're right. Yes. Or he is what's his name in the Harry Potter films. You know, he's always that side character. But good for him. Talk about being one of the best well-known secondary actors on the planet.
Yeah.
I would not leave what he's doing by any means.
No.
Don't step into a primary role. Keep doing. He probably gets paid more as a secondary actor than most primary roles get paid.
Well, the thing he's not the type of actor that would generally carry an entire movie, but he has. But the thing is, he's not pushing for that. Like it seems like he's just kind of satisfied with the roles he's been getting, and he's also very picky and choosy about the roles he takes, and that's why
Right.
he hasn't gotten to a point where there's an expectation and he's totally just like burnt out and blown out. Which is what I appreciate that about it. He's not oversaturating himself in all of these movies.
Right. But he's well known. He's in a lot of movies.
Mhm.
Like even in Air Force One. Air
Oh, yeah.
Force One, he was
Was
fantastic.
he like Russian in that?
He was the Russian
Yeah,
bad,
yeah.
he was the bad guy.
Yeah, I know he's the bad guy. I'm just trying to think about his accent and his character.
Another person who's kind of like that doesn't play multiple characters in a movie, but Johnny Depp, who he's more like the Eddie Murphy, where except for like Ninth Window,
Ninth Gate.
Ninth Gate,
Yeah.
he is the same character in everything that he does, like Eddie Murphy.
Johnny Depp?
So
Johnny Depp is-
after Johnny Depp did Pirates of the Caribbean, he couldn't get out of that. Like his voice just kind of had this constant Britishness to it that's not what he used to sound like. He used to sound like a regular American dude, and then suddenly, like when he was doing, when he was in the Lone Ranger, it's like it's Jack Sparrow, but now he's Native American, and then he was Sweeney Todd. It's like it's Jack Sparrow, but now he's a barber.
right,
And it's like, oh, okay, because he just can't get out of that now. He got so
right, but he was
stuck in that role.
also
just became him.
in Alice in Wonderland, and he was Jack Sparrow.
Yep. And but when he was Willy Wonka, he was like, "Hello, hi, nice to meet you." Like, I firmly shake you by the hand. Like, okay.
Ninth Gate though was actually pretty good. I actually enjoyed Ninth Gate. It was a weird, trippy film, and it was Johnny Depp outside of his normal role.
Sleepy Hollow was cool too for what it was.
I enjoyed Sleepy Hollow. Christopher
but
Walken.
What was the other one that he did that was about Jack the Ripper? And I remember that just being such a sleeper.
From Hell?
From Hell. Yeah,
it
that
was
not
so
good.
bad. It was so
really bad.
bad.
Did you call it a sleeper,
Yeah.
not a keeper?
No, not a keeper.
Wow. No, From
No,
Hell
but-
was an absolute slap in the face.
Yeah,
Because there
I
was a
remember
lot of
being-
people there were people ready for that movie to come out
Oh,
because it was
so
like,
was
oh my
I.
god, because like the Ripper lore, as horrible as
Oh,
it
yeah.
is, Ripper
Oh, yeah.
lore is fascinating for anybody who's interested in any kind
Hmm.
of history or like the way that law enforcement got entangled with a whole mess over there, like the way that things are started and like the beginning of
Mm.
like a massive transformation. Like everybody was ready for this story.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that was a bad
Big
movie.
slap in the face. But I mean, The Rock. We've had The Rock on our list for well over a year and a half, and we've never talked about it.
I think that's
And
how
we're
going
still
on
not
our list.
talking about it. We're talking about everything else except for The Rock.
I know, but I just wanted to kind of bring us back for a
Yeah,
second. But
yeah.
I mean, all in all, I will definitely watch this movie multiple more times in my life, just because it is entertaining. Not because I think it's the greatest thing ever. Oh, look at that, Pain and Gain.
I think I'm
Um,
done. I don't think I'm ever gonna.
yeah.
I think I'm done.
Really?
Yeah.
I would
It's one of
revisit
those
this in a
things-
decade.
It's
But it's
one
got
of-
it's got two of your favorite actors and your favorite director.
yeah, we're gonna stop right
on-
there. We're gonna stop right there. This goes back to it's not just a Michael Bay thing; it's a '90s thing. There is not a lot from the '90s that ages very well.
Oh, you see, for me, I know that they don't age well, but there's still so much from the '90s I just enjoy.
It's
Like, it's just
nostalgic.
like-
it's
it's
warm
nostalgic.
and fuzzy.
It's
Like
warm
Bad
and fuzzy.
Boys, I love
Here's-
that film.
Here's what I mean. The '90s is around the
Equilibrium.
time. The '90s is around the time where things like special effects and VR and things like that started to become more prominent in movies. But the thing about it is, it was brand new, so they really had no idea what to do with it. So they just started slapping things anywhere that they wanted to. That's
Yeah,
one of the
well, you
main
want-
reasons why a lot of things from the '90s is not aging very well. There,
Right, but
like,
Michael Bay didn't do that though with either, like with this or with Bad Boys. Like you don't see a ton of like crazy stupid special effects that just pop out of nowhere.
A
Try
trolley
watching
flew
Lawnmower Man.
30 feet into the air for no reason in this movie, and you say that
No,
Michael Bay
there
doesn't
was a
do
reason.
that. Stop. And you say
There
that
was a
Michael
reason.
Bay doesn't do that?
No, I'm saying when you can look at something, you can tell that there is something like superimposed on the background,
Mhm.
or you can tell that that there's a you see that little hover thing around a person because you can see that there's a background placed there, or it's just super obvious. Yes, he used special effects to make those things happen, but you're not sitting there going, "Oh, that looked like a special effect." You don't say that when you see any of his movies. Like when you see Bad Boys or this, you're not going Star Wars, Phantom Menace, where everything was a special effect. That's not what you're thinking.
I'm
at
no,
all.
no. But I'm saying
His
like
explosions more often than not are real explosions. They're just magnified for the film.
it's still it's unnecessary.
I didn't say it wasn't necessary. I said
It
that
looks
didn't look-
ridiculous. It's unnecessary. It's not
Yes.
realistic. It takes you out of the element. Again, goes to my point of there was a lot of this kind of thing going on in the '90s, and there was like a new thing that they could do.
but
and
to
they
just
just started
squash your
throwing
whole,
it
but to
everywhere.
to squash your whole trolley scene, though, is the only reason why that could happen is because of all those steep hills in San Francisco.
What?
And since they're
It was on a street. They were on a street. It was like it wasn't even like. First of all, it was on a street. The trolley wasn't even really moving anywhere. Yeah, there was kind of like an incline, or it was on like a steep hill, but it wasn't moving anywhere. It was on the side and off the tracks, barely moving, and just kaboom, and it went flying in the air.
He pushed it with his Humvee. I love it. That's my Hummer. Thanks. Let me use your Humvee. He used his Humvee to push it off the tracks. That part I don't get because the Humvee would be. That car would be worse off.
There's
than the
also
trolley
this
because
thing
the
that
trolley-
happens,
right.
and I'm gonna get off this because we're just gonna run in circles. There's also this thing in the '90s where it's like, let's introduce a plot point or a storyline that's gonna go absolutely nowhere. So this guy is locked up for 30 years because he was a spy and he came over here and stole all of our major secrets, and they kept him locked up for 30 years without trial. And then the movie ends with him giving the tape or whatever to Godspeed, whatever his name is, and it just ends with him asking, "So do you really want to know who shot JFK?" And it's like,
Yeah.
well, thanks a lot. I would like to know more about this story, please. Like, you have this amazing story about a British spy who comes to America, steals all of our intelligence, and then is locked up for 30 years without a trial. And this is a better movie concept than what The Rock actually is. And it
Yes, but
pisses me
here's
off.
but here's what you're forgetting, because after he got all that information, his next adventure was stealing a Declaration of Independence. So that's just what happened. Once he got that information, he was hooked on finding the government secrets.
Yeah, I'm not making things up, so sorry.
Hey, it's not Monday. What's going on here? It's 10.
He gave up.
Listen, she's not here.
Hmm.
So
Oh,
she
well,
left. So, yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this other thing too. This movie, I would not swap any actor out of this. I thought that everybody who filled every role was perfect for this, because if you think about it, if Arnold Schwarzenegger played Stanley Goodspeed like originally planned, this would have been horrible.
Wait a minute. Wait a
Yes,
minute. What?
Schwarzenegger was considered for this role.
That's horrible.
Could you imagine Schwarzenegger and Connery going back and forth?
Connery would be
Sorry,
the buffoon.
fourth. What?
Connery would have been the nuke tech guy. He would have been the buffoon in the movie.
Yeah,
There's
which wouldn't
no
have
other
made
way you
sense
would have been
either.
able to do that.
No, could you imagine if Schwarzenegger was the tech, like was the scientist?
No,
No.
It would not have made sense. It
none.
would not have made sense.
Could you
So-
imagine Schwarzenegger's giant body trying to like roll underneath a blast furnace? that he
Bruce
goes
Willis
through?
could have played the Bruce Willis could have played this role back in the 90s.
Mm.
as the scientist.
But no.
Yes.
no,
He could have.
absolutely
don't-
not.
Why not?
You know who could have?
Bruce Willis.
No, I'm thinking like maybe
Stallone.
Robert Downey Jr. back then. Maybe.
No,
Like
Stallone.
his
that
own,
couldn't
his own
happen
version of
either.
it.
That couldn't happen either because he was high. So
He was
no,
busy.
he was busy. He was in and out of prison. He was high. There was a lot going on
Yeah.
for him.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
Tom Cruise could have. Actually, yeah, Tom Cruise would have fit
Tom
this.
Cruise could have. Yeah, Tom Cruise could have done
Absolutely. Okay, so there we go. Tom Cruise in The Rock.
I want to see that movie. I want to see Tom Cruise run in that movie. Oh,
Ah,
God.
But yeah, I would
You'll
say
never see this again. I don't know if I've told you this, but I saw that someone pointed out this to me once, and then it stuck with me. Whenever Tom Cruise smiles, you never see it, but his nose runs right down the center of his right tooth.
Oh yeah.
because
Oh
it's
no, absolutely. Yep.
all
Mhm.
jacked to the left. I'm like,
yeah. One too many hits with the snake.
it. Wow.
But I was like, wait a minute, that's interesting. That his nose is
Oh yeah.
he's not symmetrical.
Nope. Nope.
Hmm.
Yep. People who have symmetrical faces just look funny. So I mean,
Oh, speaking of that,
Here we go.
not speaking of symmetrical faces, but we had a discussion about the best movie ever, Highlander: The Source, and you said I don't ever want to talk about this again
no. So
I
why are
said-
you doing this?
because I got a notification on my phone. Henry Cavill was supposed to reprise the role as the Highlander.
we talked about this. Yep.
And then he stepped out, and it was going to be
Just days ago, I was reading they're still doing it.
it was going to be Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Well, Henry Cavill just announced that he is actually stepping back in
Right.
as the Highlander
Yeah,
for the reprise.
For a reboot. Yeah.
I'm like, why?
And he's pumped
You
about
know
it.
why? Because he did The Witcher,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he did all the sword play in that, so they're
Mhm.
going to use him from that because of that. And that's
Right.
the only reason
No,
why.
yeah, that's absolutely.
Which I'll be
accurate.
honest, I've never seen, and I've heard so many good things about it.
I have as well. Yep. Yep.
The
Have
Witcher?
you seen it at all? The Witcher.
I've
Henry
wanted
Cavill?
to for a while.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what the thing is with that? I think I'm waiting. Is the series wrapped up? Are they done?
Well, they're replacing him with Hemsworth, so I guess not.
Huh.
But I'm confused because it's from what it sounds like they're not replacing the character with a new character. They're just literally replacing the actor.
They're
for the
recasting
same
him.
character. Yeah. Which I'm like, I thought they stopped doing that because they realized how much people hate that. But,
Yeah.
I mean, hey, whatever.
Well, right now there's only they're in the 4th season.
And that's a Netflix original, correct?
You know what? I would actually consider going through this.
Yeah. Well,
So
Something different.
yeah.
It's something way different. And right now, out of all 4 seasons, there's only 25 episodes.
Mhm.
But I've heard.
we've got a lot on our plate.
I
No, we
know, but I'm saying
don't.
like
Well,
we
you
don't.
guys, whatever.
No, we don't. We don't have a lot on our plate.
We have
right
other
now.
series that we haven't finished yet, as well.
Yeah,
I'm saying
Titans.
we don't have to do the whole.
And
we
Cobra
can
Kai.
finish. We can finish doing.
And The Chosen. Yeah, there have been things that we haven't finished yet.
We can finish up this season of Titans and then go into The Witcher. I would not be opposed to
Or
that.
Finish Cobra Kai.
We could do
Or-
like finish up the season of Titans, go into a season of Witcher, then go back to Titans, then go back to and like
Yeah, we could.
that way
Maybe.
that way it's not all at the same time.
Lee is not for this plan because he wants to do Cobra Kai and The Chosen.
No, I just like finishing what we started. You know, Cobra Kai's done. Let's just finish it off. I'm just saying
Cobra
we
Kai
have
is
a lot of stuff
not
that's
done.
It's done.
No, it's not.
It's done for now. It's done for a while. If anything, you haven't seen Stranger Things. You should probably watch that.
You know what's funny?
I would
As I was
not
looking
be
at-
opposed to that.
I know you wouldn't.
I would love
I
to
haven't-
do Stranger Things.
A
I
lot
would
of. I mean,
love
there's a,
that.
there's a lot to say about that show too.
There's
I
a
would do it. I haven't
lot.
seen it. I would do it.
Yeah.
Here's
So-
the thing. Here's the thing about Stranger Things, and it still blows my mind that Lee could not
It's
get
so
on
mainstream.
board.
I'm surprised it's as captivating as it is.
I cannot, because it's you. It is you. It is so nostalgia. It is so 80s. It is everything that you love. It is everything that you love about 80s sci-fi and 80s horror. It's
But maybe
everything
that's
that
why
you love
I'm not
about
a hu-
80s. It's everything that you love about
So
80s
here's the
nostalgia.
question.
Everything.
If we do Stranger Things, do you want to do it the same way that we did Breaking Bad, or do you want to do it episode by episode?
There are things that happen on that show that I would want to talk about in detail.
Yeah.
There's a
sure.
build up and you're not gonna know what I'm talking about. Lee will know what I'm talking about. There's a build up, an introduction to a character in the 4th season that absolutely deserves to be talked about because of how epic it is. It is
Yeah, yeah.
epic. It is fantastic. And just everything that builds to it, like when it happens, you're shocked that you didn't see it coming from a mile away.
God, come
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
totally suck.
I don't know.
Oh, they're in the middle of season 5 right now.
Yeah, they're hell. They're
Yeah,
lot
they're
of
not
them.
doing. Yeah, they're strike, writer's strike. Not
yeah.
good. Not good. Not good.
But
But
I heard
anyways,
this too. I heard this too about stuff that had been not that were finishing or they're done. They did how many movies of the Saw? Saw I think 6 was like the final cut.
No, it was more than 6 at this point.
Well, no, they did
didn't
Saw
no
final
Chris
cut.
Rock just did 10, didn't he?
Oh, that was Spiral.
But
Was that
isn't it
one.
like a
Yeah.
thing
Part
with
of
the
it.
Saw universe, like a part of it?
I don't
Like
know.
it might
but
as
they
well
did
be Saw 10.
Yeah.
Right, well, they did
yeah.
Saw 8 final cut, and then they did like 6 years later they did Jigsaw,
Yeah, Jigsaw.
and now they're doing
they had
another Saw
Spiral.
movie. Why would you title a movie Final Cut and then have more movies after it?
Money.
Okay, so there was Saw 2, 3, 4, 5, Saw 3D, Jigsaw, Spiral, and then September 29th, Saw 10. Okay, so I was wrong.
Mhm.
It wasn't Saw
Yeah.
10. Spiral was Saw
Still.
9.
Yeah.
So dumb.
The first one was entertaining for what it was. Like it made sense, and they kept going with it. I think 3 kind of tied it up, and then they started like, let's make it go down a further rabbit hole. I'm like, please stop. Please stop. I don't know. I'm actually it's annoying because I bought like the whole collection up to the final Saw or whatever on DVD and never watched it
Well,
because
it's
I stopped watching horror movies like the month after I bought it. I'm like, that's such a waste. I got that and like the Puppet Master movies.
I wouldn't call
and-
them horror. I would just call them
They're horror thriller. They're definitely horror
I
thriller
call 'em
because of the gruesomeness.
gruesome thriller, not horror, because it's not like jump scares. It's just disgusting.
There's some jump
Yeah.
scare stuff.
There's
Oh,
a few-
absolutely.
There's some, but it's not like creepy horror. It's just
Right.
It's just bloody
Yeah, but I can't watch
and
that
hard
stuff
to.
anymore.
It is hard
just,
to watch.
I just can't watch it anymore.
like I really don't want to watch like someone's
Like I'm not
Face
gonna
getting
watch
it.
Hostel ever again. I'll tell you that.
Hostel was horrible.
Anyway. Yep. So here's where
Jeepers
we are.
Creepers though, that was fantastic.
Jeepers
Especially the
Creepers.
second one where he's picking off the kids on the bus. The ones that he wants.
See, now we were talking
Oh.
before about, actors and everything, and the two of you brought up Johnny Depp. Like
Mm.
everything that I cannot unsee Johnny Depp getting sucked into that bed. In
Oh, dude.
in Nightmare
that was
on
one
Elm
of his.
Street.
That was one of his first like big.
It is
breakout roles.
iconic. It is
Yeah, it
iconic.
is.
Even if you dislike horror, like that scene is just like it's
But even
fantastic.
Nightmare on Elm Street to me isn't even horror. It's funny.
Yeah.
Well, no, the first
they're
one.
funny.
No, later on when you got him over there on the beach with sunglasses and like number 4, and you're like, what's going on?
Even Freddy versus Jason.
Well, that was a
That
joke.
was
that was
horrible.
that was a comedy.
But that,
That
became
was
more like
so
an
bad.
action comedy than it was anything else.
Yeah, well, I mean, you had what's her face there from Destiny's Child in it. She was like, "Come on, Mr. Butter Knives, I'm not afraid of your butter knives."
She thought
know,
she
it's
was
like,
going to be the
okay.
breakout star.
Oh yeah, that didn't happen.
That did not work out
Did
too
not happen.
well.
Nope.
That did not work out
But-
at all.
Anyway, I think we're done talking about The Rock.
The Rock.
The Rock. It's a grunge thing,
Sure.
and she talks especially.
Enough. I've had enough of this chit chat.
A-hole.
No, it's the way he says it. Enough with the chit chat, a-hole. Like, it's like what? What in the name of Zeus's butthole? Like who?
Why?
And could you
Him.
imagine Schwarzenegger saying those
No.
lines?
Try it. Show us. Do it.
No. Absolutely not.
What's in the name of Zeus's butthole? Like it's just so dumb. And I mean, no offense, but there's the scene where he's like with his, fiance, and he's talking about what, like yogurt or something, some kind of sorbet. What's going on? What's he? I wanted to find the subtitles and be like, what's he actually saying here? And then he's like, hold on, my phone's ringing. Like, it's the FBI. Of course they know where I am. It's like, okay. It's just, it was
and
just,
to be on, you're not the tallest building, and you're on top of the building with others looking
Hey,
down
everybody.
at you. Everyone knows what you're doing and where you're at.
oh
Pr-
yeah,
yeah,
it was
pretty
weird,
much. Pretty much.
But
And I love
Pretty
how
much.
she's like, I'm Catholic and pregnant and
Yeah.
not married. You just slept with the guy. Of course.
well,
What did you expect?
well, that's why she proposed to him.
Yeah.
Wrong order.
Shut up! I'm proposing to you. Okay.
Sure.
This is the beginning of the women's movement in,
Yeah.
in Hollywood.
Do you like my pigtails? I love your pigtails. There were some pretty bad one-liners in this film.
Oh man.
It's not
Well-
that it's not just that either. Like Nick Cage notoriously has like really bad scenes where things are trying to be sexy. Like him and Angelina Jolie in
but
the
he's
car
speaking.
and Gone in 60 Seconds, and they're making out, and he just cannot shut up about anything. Like he's talking.
Yeah, he
There-
can't do
it's-
a love scene.
He can't do a love scene at all. It's so awkward. I felt bad for Angelina Jolie in that scene. Like I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
god. Like there's tongue going everywhere, and he just keeps talking. It must be so disgusting.
Yeah, I don't
Tongue-
recall that at all. but
Tongue.
I don't think I need to.
All I saw was her lips.
All right, so
Imagine
so
her lips.
her lips
with-
Uma Thurman's face,
What's his name?
Morgan Freeman's eyebrows.
Morgan Freeman's eyebrows.
You make one just big, normal-looking person, but just bigger. If you can get that. Who do we got for noses? Oh, Streisand? No.
Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson.
Wow.
Wow, look at this nose. Check out my mask.
Forrest Whitaker's
Or
eyes.
or Forrest Whitaker's eye.
Just one eye.
Just the one
Yeah.
eye.
Oh no. No.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
That's rough.
No, it's
That
not.
is rough.
Yeah, it is rough.
Oh,
It's absolutely rough.
why?
There's
Do you know how
okay,
that
so
happened?
I don't know.
Do you,
I don't know.
do you
if
know how
it-
that happened?
I don't care how it
There's a-
happened.
Do you know that he got attacked by a cat?
That'd be hilarious. That'd be hilarious if it was actually true.
That wasn't
There was a,
cat, that was like a Flugenborg or something.
There was a cop drama back in the early 2000s called The Shield that came on
Oh, yeah.
FX, and it's a fantastic
we all know
series.
this one.
It's
It
a
was with,
fantastic
Michael Chiklis.
series. Yeah, Michael Chiklis. Fantastic series. And there was a couple of seasons where Forrest Whitaker came in and he was like the
Yeah.
guy who was going to bring down the crooked cop. And it's like, there's nothing that he does where I can take him seriously because he can't look straight. I couldn't do it. Like, his acting was fantastic and I bought it, but it was just like, I can't. Like, there are certain scenes where he's trying to be like serious and intimidating, but it's like your eye is looking in the wrong direction. I can't do this
Have
anymore.
you seen Jean-Claude Van Damme's Bloodsport?
Oh, jeez.
No, I
Yeah.
hate Jean-Claude Van
Because-
Long
Damme.
time ago.
I
What?
am not a fan of Jean-Claude Van. I can't. No, absolutely not. Him and
You are
him and
you are-
Steven
you are-
Seagal are like the worst. They are the
Whoa, whoa,
worst.
I
whoa,
would not
whoa.
put the two together.
They
I
are
would-
the
Steven
worst.
Seagal just walks around and like he touches people's necks and they just break.
Steven Seagal is a good guy who is a bad guy to beat the bad guys. I
No,
don't like that.
Steven Seagal is
Jean-Claude Van-
ridiculous. There is okay. What is the name of that movie? Oh my god, that
Under
came out
Siege.
that, where he like fell into a coma and he woke up and he had to like fight the bad guys. What is the? Oh my god. Oh my God, what is the name of that movie?
Don't know.
Mm.
But Jean-Claude
But
Van Damme plays
anyways, it doesn't matter. He's in a coma. He's been in a coma for years. The bad guys are coming to like
Hard to
kill him
kill?
or whatever, huh?
Yeah, it's hard to kill.
Hard to
Yeah.
kill. The bad
Yeah.
guys are coming, and because it's him, he wakes up. Even before he wakes up, the nurse who's attending to him lifts up the sheet and goes, "I hope you wake up. You have so much to live for." Just because it's Steven Seagal. It's so stupid. It's so ridiculous. I hate him.
Yeah. Mm.
Oh, so do I. But Forrest Whitaker played in Bloodsport with Jean-Claude Van Damme as
Ah.
one of the military police.
Was that what happened to his eye?
No, it was a cat.
Okay.
Forrest, but you ever seen Vantage Point?
No,
You've never seen Vantage Point?
I've never seen Vantage Point.
It's actually it's with Dennis.
Came out in the later,
Quaid.
like around 2004, 2005.
Yeah, so there's an attack on the president.
Yep.
But
Mhm.
they show the movie like 4 different times
Mhm.
from different
Vantage Points.
vantage points.
Ah,
And I believe Whitaker was in that movie as well too. You ever
good
see
guess.
the,
2008. Yep.
you ever see those pictures where you're like, there's always the eyes are following you?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I feel like whenever I watch a Forrest Whitaker movie, one of them's always following me.
We'll got it.
He was actually pretty good as Saw Gerrera.
Yeah, he was good as Saw Gerrera.
Yeah, he was
except for the fact
fantastic
that
as
he's
Saw
Nothing
Gerrera.
like Saw Gerrera in the Clone Wars and Rebels.
Who
But-
cares?
Saw Gerrera was he was like Hispanic, and then you see him here, and you're like, that's just Forrest Whitaker. He looked like a disheveled fat Morgan Freeman. Anyway, yep. So I think we're done with The Rock. Yeah,
Yeah.
all in agreement, all in favor.
I'm good.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
What?
Just yeah.
Oh, just yeah.
Sure.
Go watch Bloodsport.
Hmm.
Listen
It's a
to
fun.
this.
It's just it's a fun movie.
Yep. All right. Well, I think I'm good. You good? Yeah.
He's reading the synopsis for Bloodsport.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm all set.
All set too. All right.
Fine, whatever. All right, guys, have a great one. Thanks for tuning in.
See you later.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Hey everybody, Lee from Black and White Reviews here. Just wanted to take a moment to thank you for tuning in, checking out our conversation. If you like this discussion and you want to hear more about this specific subject or other things, check us out on our podcasting sites, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, or Google Podcasts. We're up on pretty much all of them. So yeah, thanks again for popping by, and yeah, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks.